morning, namaskar from all of us at UBI Learning Labs program. Thank you so much for sharing your time on a valuable weekend evening, afternoon. I don't know what time is in your time zone, but yes, weekends are all special for all of us because we want to share that with our family. But today on our first session one on UBI LLP program, the Learning Labs program, which we have introduced, you all have joined us. Thank you so much for your time. I have two eminent speakers. One of them is our series host, Neeti ji, and second is our special guest, Sunita Suldhana ji. Both of them are experts in their fields, and I feel blessed to have such eminent speakers and such eminent creative writers who are there in the masters of their field, sharing the stage with me today and letting me open this Learning Labs program series with their experience and with their expert advice. So stay tuned, all of you at UBI. I know we at UBI have always come together to do all the various types of events, and Learning Labs program is going to be a complete series where you will learn a lot. I think Neeti ji will do a better job to explain what exactly we are coming up with. So without taking much of your time, I will go ahead and I will invite on board my both speakers, Neeti ji and Sunita Suldhana ji. Welcome on board, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sapna ji. Sapna ji, as you all know, is the founder of this wonderful platform called United by Ink. And it is her vision that is coming true today. And we know that UBI helps creative souls realize their goals through learning literary skills and broadening literacy experience through a trinity of activities. And an activity is opening up today, a very meaningful one. As we step into the Learning Labs program, it's very first in the series of creative writing. I mean, who doesn't want to put across the thoughts that come into the mind and find their path onto paper? Ma'am, yes, you were saying.
I really wish to share a little bit inputs about our host to introduce her. I know most of you know her, and about the Learning Lab series. Yes, ma'am will surely talk about it. And as Mahatma Gandhi ji says, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. She is one of the persons who has actually made it a reality in her life. I mean, she has kept on learning. She is a photographer. She is, I mean, the kind of hats she's donning is tremendous. She's an educationist to start with, a prize-winning poetess, writer, an exhibited artist, and an editor too. I think most of us at the platform, all various platforms you're connected with, you will be aware of what all literary gems she has shared with us. So here I present to you a beautiful soul, Neeti ji, who has won so many awards, ALS Society, Indian Women Achievers Award. I think the list is such a long one. If I continue, I'll take a very long time. ALS, a lot of awards she has won, even the Best New Editor Award and trophy from Impeccable Publishing House. And a very important one is that she is the education director of a renowned chain of schools. As a founder principal, she also received the awards of a best upcoming schools in Uttar Pradesh. She has contributed in more than 40 anthologies and edited and compiled 7. So I really feel blessed that we have someone like her who is going to be taking care of this baby of ours, the Learning Labs program, live sessions for all the English sessions. She'll be the host. So here I hand over the stage to you, Neeti ji. Please take
Thank you so much. You make me feel better about myself.
Welcome to Sunita.
I feel so much better about my own self. Thank you so much.
I couldn't take much time, so I had to shorten it. So sorry because I can go on and on for Neeti ji, and I think all of us know her so well, but still I feel, and one thing, very beautiful thing about her is she'll never say no to anything. You know, this is something which I personally want to add. So beautifully, she will say, okay, fine, let's see, we'll try. Yes. And she will go for it with a full heart and soul. That's
Thank you. So kind of you. But it's your vision today, Sapna ji. And what a vision. that you are not only promoting a platform, you're providing people with learning experiences which are so focused. And today is one such day. And with the name of God on our lips, we are opening this session series 1. And we have with us an expert, Sunita Suldhana, who I shall introduce in a short while. Let me give you a brief on the program. It's going to be a step-by-step program. And then when I say step-by-step, it means we shall proceed from where we start our path to creative writing towards the very end of where you feel comfortable and you're actually writing pieces and submitting to us and sharing with each one of us. Then that will be a journey that will be complete. Apart from that, please know that this is going to be an interactive session, not in so much as maybe you will not be on screen, but you will, each one of you, please stay with us on the comment boxes, keep writing your feedback, keep writing your questions, and we shall try and take them at the end of the program. Even if we don't manage it, we shall keep track of each one of them and maybe deal with them as we go along. So don't feel disheartened at all. Feel that you are a part of this program, and this program is as much you as it is us, because a teacher is only as good as our students make her. It's always been true. And so take us to great heights, dear learners. So apart from this, I will always try and introduce a literary piece for you to broaden your horizons, maybe introduce you to some beautiful literature, and we will always have an expert with us. Having said that, let me get on to the literary piece that I'm going to share with you today, and it's one of my favorites and our crowning glory, Rabindranath Tagore. He's written a very simple but a very beautiful piece on paper boats. Listen carefully, because you shall need all this when you're writing. Go back to this piece forever for inspiration. Here I go. It's called Paper Boats, and Rabindranath Tagore says, day by day, I float my paper boats one by one down the running stream. In big black letters, I write my name on them and the name of the village where I live. I hope that someone in some strange land will find them and know who I am. I load my little boats with surely flowers, flowers from our garden, and hope those blooms of the dawn will be carried safely to land in the night. I launch my paper boats and look up into the sky and see the little clouds setting the white bulging sails. I know not what playmate of mine in the sky sends them down the air to race with my boats. When night comes, I bury my face in my arms and dream that my paper boats float on and on under the midnight stars. The fairies of sleep are sailing in them, and the lading is their baskets full of dreams. That's so very beautiful. Let it haunt you, dear viewers, for as long as it can, and inspire you too. And let me now welcome our eminent guest for the day, Sunita Suldhana. And it is such a pleasure to have her on board. Sunita Suldhana is a life coach, corporate trainer, blogger, published author, and poet with 3 books to her name and a couple more on the way. She has been writing since the age of 13. She calls herself a retired mom. With both her kids having flown the nest, she is happiest when she is writing with her dog Muffin curled up at her feet. She believes that every human being has seeds of greatness within them and loves to help people find that flipping point in their lives as they discover themselves. She runs the Know and Grow Learning Center, where she conducts various courses on creative writing, communication, and life skills for the young and adults. She's also created Shakti, a self-awareness program for women. She's passionate about the environment and feels we should all focus on cleanliness. That is so lovely. And once again, Sunita, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Neeti, for that lovely introduction. And thank you, Sapna ji, for giving me this opportunity to speak about my greatest passion on this UBI Learning Labs program.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
So wonderful. So we shall straight away get to the point. And Sunita, I'll ask you, what is creative writing?
Neeti, a lot of times I get calls from people who want their kids to learn creative writing, but they feel that creative writing is learning how to write well, means handwriting or calligraphy. And that is absolutely not what creative writing is about. For me, creative writing is when you use your words to express your thoughts and feelings. You use words to express what you're thinking, what you're feeling in such a way that it is attractive. And when somebody reads it, they can actually see a picture in their mind. It paints a picture. Like the poem you just read about paper boats. You could see the journey of the paper boat. You could see what was happening. You could envision the fairies in it. So it's like that. When you're using words in such a way that it lights a spark in somebody else's soul.
That's so well said, Sunita.
Yeah. So,
indeed.
For example, like you just say the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That's just a simple sentence, right? But you can make it this thing by saying the sun travels across the sky every day from east to west. Now what happens? The sun becomes a traveler, a human. What does he see? What does he feel? So just small things that help. Yeah.
Oh, that's so well said. I'd just like to ask you a very short question here. You mentioned that kids, parents of kids approach you. That's the younger ones. Do some adults also approach you? I mean, can they also be a part of the creative writing skills?
Absolutely. There's no age. There is absolutely no age at which you can start writing. You can write at any age whatsoever. In fact, I have a friend of mine who's an author. She's called the queen of romance in Indian literature, Sundari Venkatraman. She started writing at the age of 40. And by now she's 57. She has written over 57 books.
I can put in a word here. She had been on our author corner, and everybody who wants to talk to her or wants to know more about her, they can watch her video on our channel too. She is a fantabulous writer too.
Absolutely.
And we shall have her again, hopefully.
Yes, yes, sure.
Yeah, so there's no age. You can start at any age.
Absolutely. And I too must admit over here to you and to everybody else that it is only the last 5 odd years that I've been kind of writing in a serious manner. Before then, I had submitted myself to education, and that was a kind of a puja for me to serve the children. I still do. They are very close to my heart, and I love them so. So the next question to you, Sunita, very simple one. Do you think creative writing is something that is inherent? Are we born writers? I mean, is this something that God has given us? Or do you think we can develop a skill for this particular talent?
Neeti, the thing is, some people are born with a flair for writing. But that does not make them better than somebody who has learned to write. Because what is more important is developing that skill. What is more important is being consistent in writing. So somebody who writes well but doesn't bother about it, after some time actually loses their skill. But somebody who could just be, I just write, okay, right now, but I'm learning how to write. I am writing every day. I discipline myself. That is what makes you a better creative writer than someone who's just born with a flair for writing.
And so how would I know?
See, even when I see myself, like if I give myself a gap of about 2 weeks, I find that I can't write as well. The words don't flow so easily. But if I write every day, then the words flow. And I've seen with my students as well. There are some who have never written in their life. There are some who initially struggle to find words. But by the end of the course, they're able to put such beautiful ideas together, they're able to create such beautiful pictures with words. That's why I said that tipping point. There is a point where you just suddenly turn into something so much better. You find that point within you. when you
So
practice.
that is the ray of hope that we are spreading today, and the fragrance that we are spreading today to all those who have joined us, that you can be great writers, you can say whatever you wish to and say it so well. And you said that it sometimes if you don't write for 2 weeks, you feel you can't find the words. So very importantly, I think the point that you're trying to underline here is the usage of the language and keeping in touch with it. The moment you disconnect with your thoughts and the words that are supposed to follow, then it takes a while to come back to what they are. I would like to put in here that as an educationist, I have felt very often my students have walked up to me, senior ones, and said, ma'am, this is what we want to say. And they say it in another language, let's say. And then they find it very difficult to say it in the language that they have been asked to. And that is one of the questions we shall address as we go by, dear learners. Because so many of us think in a different language and want to express it in another language. Both languages, of course, due respect to them, but whichever one you want to write in, you have to have the fluency for. So when did you begin your journey, Sunita, of creative writing?
I actually started writing at the age of 13 when my youngest sister was born, because I just had to express what I felt about her, because it was like a 13-year-old gap. And she was a baby, and I wrote through college. Then, of course, once I got married and had my own kids, writing took a back seat. And it's only now again that I started writing. I've always been writing a little bit, but now it's become very serious, and I make sure that I spend at least an hour a day writing. So
these are difficult times for a lot of us. We've been kind of shut into our, four walls, not just, metaphorically, quite literally. So, and it's, become very, very difficult for so many of us to be able to express ourselves, because there's so much that has come down upon us totally unexpected. And I find that it is quite cathartic to be able to write and to express yourself. And I hope our learners who are with us just now kind of relate to what I'm saying, because there's so much of emotion, the emotional turmoil that's going on within us. And it would be so nice if you could find this as an outlet, cathartic, healing, to be able to deal with the way things are till we come back to whatever the new normal may be.
Absolutely.
So looking at that, Sunita, I'd like you to share that poem, maybe if you have it, which you wrote when you were when you began writing. Okay. What a lovely occasion to begin writing. Usually it's jealousy, they say, that follows the birth of a sibling, but if you can honor it with a poem, what better way to do it?
Okay, so one of the, I don't have that original poem right now here with me, but I have one of the poems that I wrote, because I think in that 1 year I wrote about 100 poems. It was just, oh wow, I can write. So there was this whole thing. So this is called The Sunset by the Sea. It says, the sun is filled with gold. The tired sun sinks to rest. Splashes of vivid color are seen. Yes, it's a marvelous sunset. The water bright a moment ago is now dark and still. The brilliance of the sky with a great peace does fill me as I sit and watch, gold, crimson, and blue. The scene is always there, yet it's always new. So at that time, I used to.
That's so nice.
I used to
struggle. Learners, please focus on colors and images, like she keeps saying.
Yeah, and I used to be very focused on rhyming, and it had to rhyme and it had to follow a certain this thing. But then as I grew, I learned that that's not really necessary. What is more important is to express yourself. What is more, sometimes you just have a story you want to tell. Say it in your own words. I just put it down. Just write. Sometimes you want to express your feelings for a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a child, maybe a Valentine's Day card, a birthday card. Just put it there.
So from what I've gathered so far, if I were to take up those points again, you're saying that, if one wants to write, the thing to do is to be regular with it and find the right moments to note down what you're feeling, find occasions to pen down what you're feeling, and from there the journey begins, and then it goes on to something more beautiful each day. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just start. Just start.
Just start. And today is the day, right now, just after this session, and share with us. Let
Absolutely.
it be rudimentary in nature. Let it be the very first attempt. Do not shy away from your words or whatever you've written. We will honor them, and we will love to have them with us and then they will stay with us as a part of your journey. And then one day, when you're sitting, little dear learners like Sunita is, you will read the first poem that you shared with us, where your journey has taken you. So please do, right? That's the whole idea of this program. And now that we have spoken, Sunita, about the fact that this is a skill that can be developed,
yeah,
is there a recipe to it? Is there a formula? Like I say, cough syrup ke jaise koi, do we find a bottle in the market, 2 spoons in the morning, 2 spoons in the evening, you're a writer? Or is there another? Is there a way that leads to it?
No, there are a lot of things that you would need to do. Like there are tips that first thing is you need to find a guru. Okay, so you need to find a coach, or you need to find a accountability buddy. You need to find somebody whom you, when you're writing, because it's very easy to just write and say, "Nahi, aaj nahi likhungi main. Aaj mood nahi hai. I'm not really." You have so many other things to come in, and there's also that vulnerability of putting your words on paper. Sometimes you feel like, I don't know. So when you have a program, when you're attending a program, you are also going through the techniques of learning. You are learning about, say, if you're doing poems, you're learning about meter, you're learning about rhymes, you're learning about free verse, you're learning how the different ways to put it in. And you also have a group generally where you are interacting, so the group dynamics works. You have somebody to critique your work, to help you to become better. And that's also important. It's important to take criticism. It's important to take feedback. Because your first draft is never your best. It's never. It's just something that you spill out. And then it has to be polished and, worked on. And then you rewrite it. And then you rewrite it till you are satisfied and say, yay, this is what I wanted to say.
All right. I'm going to take you back a little bit because I think our learners will want to know. You mentioned a particular term, accountability guru. So please tell us what you mean by accountability guru.
I mean, as a coach, I would hold my students accountable. That this is what we have learned this week. Now I want you to write about it. I want you to share it with me. So that happens that you're not just learning and attending a course, but you're actually putting what you learned into practice.
So would it be safe to say to all our learners today that UBI through this program, Learning Labs program, is going to become their accountability guru?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So here we are, learners, for you all the way to fame and name and whatever. That's so wonderful. So some tips, Sunita ji, because now that you said they've got to begin writing and today is the day and we are the accountability gurus, what are some tips, without overwhelming our learners? May I please add to all our learners that whatever tips are coming up now or whatever we have spoken about now but not gone into an elaborate detail about, we shall be doing it because it is a step-by-step program and it is a Learning Labs program. We will stay with you all the way till you want us to stay with you on your journey. So hold on, okay? All right, Sunita. Some tips, please.
Okay. This is what, one second. Yeah. So if you want to be a writer,
okay,
the first thing you need to do is read. I can't emphasize that enough. because you will not learn the language unless you read. And also read in the genre you want to write about. If you want to write romance, then read romance. If you want to write thrillers, read thrillers. Because that will also help you to know how other people write and how you can find your own voice. And then, of course, write. And be clear, be clear about what you want to say. You don't have to use big words. I've seen very often people...
Indeed.
Yeah, people look, especially when we are translating from our mother tongue into English, we tend to look up synonyms to see, okay, what other word that I can use. But it's not really okay, because sometimes that synonym does not fit that particular context. Like, for example, one of my, somebody wanted me to edit their book, and they were talking about a woman who was very busy in the morning, rushing from here to there, and she galloped across the house. And it was like, yeah, I know gallop also means running from here to there.
Yes.
But, you know, she moved like a whirlwind across the room or something like that would have been more appropriate there. So, yeah, use appropriate words, adjectives, use short sentences. On and on and on, because in the end, you're not going to relate, your reader will not relate to what you started off with.
Yes.
And check your grammar. You don't have to show off your vocabulary, but grammar is important. Very important. You don't have to be a Shashi Tharoor with all the big words, but make sure that what you write is correct, so that when your reader reads it, they can understand it.
So you need an accountability guru.
Yeah.
To tell you where you've gone wrong with your grammar. Indeed. Yes.
And write as much as you can, whenever you can. Keep an idea notebook where you just put in ideas, so that when you have the time, you can explore those ideas. Like we spoke about the sun traveling across the sky. You can make that into the story. What did you see? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. You just put sun traveling, and write what you love. Do you like what you write? If you don't like what you write, your readers will not.
So could we see you, Sunita, while you're speaking, so that the readers can, the learners can focus on you?
Okay.
That's wonderful. So nice to see you again.
Yeah. So as I was saying, you need to write what you love.
Okay.
If you don't like what you write, your readers are not going to like it. It should not be a chore.
Yeah.
Something that comes.
So the chore here, learners, is not the Hindi wala chore as thief.
Yeah, it should not be a task. It should not be something I have to write. It should be, okay, I'm going to write. Maybe I'm not perfect right now, but I'm going to put my words down and I'm going to see how I can make it better.
Yes. So I would just like to add a little bit here. You began your tips by saying read, read, read. And through my years of experience and the ones who are sitting across and watching us now also, there's a great fear of reading. You know, somehow there's been over a generation, a disconnect with read. So, and when you ask somebody, an accountability guru or some guru, even I read out a literary piece in the beginning, everybody gets scared of the fact that they may have to read, you know, heavy classics and all. My advice to each of you, read what you like.
Absolutely.
I mean, comic books are as much literature as any classic is. It's just opening yourself up to the language. And please remember one thing, learners, a language is yours, they say, when you begin to dream in it. So maybe not today will your dreams be in the language we are discussing, English today, but maybe down the line. And if you are bilingual or multilingual, then you have multilingual dreams or bilingual dreams, but then English will have to become a part of your dream. And you will have to bring that to the visions that you have, or you will create, or what you will bring into your life through whatever experiences, whatever learning you have of that language itself. So expose yourself as much as possible to the language and do not fret about where you may go wrong. And even the Google Baba is there with a hand up like this all the time. Translation is possible and ideas are possible. Use it with care. But remember not to lose your originality to Google Baba.
Yes.
it can be there as your
Yeah,
support, but
absolutely.
not as a main source. Having said that, could we have some questions that have come up to us in the chat box? Are there any questions that we would be able to deal with today, or any questions you think we can anticipate? Yes, Sapna ji.
If you want to continue, we can continue for another few minutes. I think there were a few other things which we wanted to discuss too. So there were two more things which I think we did want to go ahead with. If you are thinking the time is short, I know we were planning for a 30-minute session. So maybe crisply, if we can go to the next two slides which we were planning to, we can go ahead.
The genres, writing genres.
Yeah.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I'll just check the questions as well.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. But just that we have a little shorter time period, so we can be crisp on what genres we
maybe, yes. Yeah. And maybe just a question or so.
Yeah, that I'm just checking out the questions.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. So Sunita, could we just have the various genres?
Yeah. So, so this is when you, what is creative writing? What do you use creative writing for? It would just be stories, poetry, plays, movie scripts, songs, speeches, memoirs, writings in that way. It's not something that, it's something that where you can use your heart and soul and just write. You can create things. It's not something that is already created and something that is standard, something that is like something
right.
That,
and we would like to tell our learners here that we shall be taking each of these genres separately as a session each, or maybe more.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, Sunita.
And yeah, so what it is not is, it is not academic writing. It is not journalism. It is not technical writing. It is not school books. Though sometimes nowadays journalism could come under creative writing because
yes,
it tends to be
absolutely,
very creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, so your content writing, your journalism, your textbooks, that's not creative writing. Creative writing, as I said, is stories, poems.
Maybe we shall do, some sessions later on, Sapna ji, on formal writing as well. So this
Absolutely.
is a journey just begun.
Yes, yeah. I think you already have things in your
I do.
list.
I have a long list of...
It's a very long list. Whoever
yes.
is listening to us, don't get worried that this is not the only information which we'll be sharing. This is just the beginning. So we just wanted to be simple and to start with exactly understand where we're coming from and where we lead to, that God knows and Neeti ma'am knows. And I think the speakers and the audience will also lead us to what they want to learn.
Yes.
And absolutely. We are here to stay. We don't want to make it just a 3-week course or some 4-week course. No, it is not going to be limited to that number of sessions. We can continue till the time we can learn. So here, there is one question, which is a very interesting question, which has come. Vandana Oak has a question. I couldn't go back to the older questions. There were a few more. I'm not able to go back to them, but the latest
just
question
any one that
I can see right now.
Yes.
Vandana says, nowadays there is a trend to write nano tales, or rather very short story rather than short story. Does it hamper creative writing and English grammar?
Sunita, would you like to take it?
Not really, because if you keep, even when you're writing a nano tale, you make sure that your grammar is correct. You are able to concise ideas into a shorter story. So there also you have to use your imagination, where you could have a very long story and you're actually condensing it. So it's like when we write a novel and we have to write a synopsis, when we have to send it across to an agent or somebody, you have to just put it in 2 lines, what the story is about. True. And that, believe me, takes a lot of thought. It's easier spreading out and writing. It's very difficult concising what you have. So that is a skill, and that's something that you learn. You do learn.
This is Vandana asking the question.
Vandana Oak asking.
So Vandana, it's a beautiful question. I'm very glad you asked it. It's a very difficult genre to attempt, a nano tale. I would say begin your journey and find your thoughts, and then you will be able to condense them into a nano tale also. And you have also prolonged our list here. We shall take up Nano Tales as a separate session, most definitely for you and all of the others who wish to have.
Okay, there's a question coming from Shweta Prakash Kukreja. It's about vocabulary, and I think ma'am has already taken up the question. Is it important to focus more on vocabulary? But yeah, vocabulary obviously needs to be big. I think you two experts will be able to shed a light on that. And is this that stories with good vocabulary are great ones? So both of you, anyone?
Sunita, take it, then I will.
Both of you can give your inputs in time.
Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, there are two things here. Vocabulary you must have, because unless you know your language, you're not able to do justice to whatever you're writing. You have to be careful not to continue to duplicate words that are there in use already in your writing. So unless you have a vocabulary that is good enough, you will not be able to express in different ways. But here is the word of caution. Know the word that you're using, because if it is oddly used, it's going to stand up like a sore thumb in your writing, and that's going to expose. So be comfortable with what you know, be happy with what you're writing, have a repertoire, but use it carefully and when you know where to put it.
Absolutely. I would just agree totally with what Neeti says. She summed it up so well.
Thank you. So anything else, Sapnaji? I'm so happy to hear the question. So happy.
I'm not able to go back, but there were I think a couple of questions behind. So, but I'm not able to go back to those questions. They've already gone.
We'll read them up and then maybe
read
answer
it later them. And maybe we'll get back to all the questions.
Yes.
And because Hamida is asking one question right now, if you want to pick it up. Sure. Is it necessary to follow the techniques of famous poets while writing poems? We'll come to that probably.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sunita, anything from you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You read famous poets, you understand where they were writing, because a lot of them have written over the years, over the centuries. And like, for example, if you look at William Blake or you look at Alfred Lord Tennyson, the kind of poems he wrote at that time are very different from the kind of poems that poets write today. You have Rupi Kaur who writes a 3-line poem. And those are equally good.
Yeah.
So what is more important is find your own voice.
You see, literature's come a long way. Yeah. Yes. So those shackles are broken of trying to rhyme anything. As long as you can express it well, I think you can go a long way. But you should know, of course, what you're saying. But again, read the good poets.
Yes.
Because they will inspire you.
Yes, absolutely.
Because what they bring into, through their words, the visions they bring to you, the philosophy, the emotions are unmatched. That's why they are what they are.
Yes.
So do not let the rhyme scheme come at the cost of good poetry or the other way around.
Yes.
So feel free, but
it's
again,
both.
know your ground. Know your ground.
It's both. So you need to know them, but find your own voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here so I would like to just add something. In Hindi, there is a poem called Kukur Mutta, and we gave a topic called Kukur Mutta in Hindi recently. We had a linked marathon, and some of the people didn't even know the meaning of mushroom in Hindi. They didn't know how do they write. There were young kids also obviously writing, so they were not aware of it as well.
Right.
And then the English speakers, people who talk mostly in English, they will not be aware of those typical words. But there was a poem written by someone, very big name. I want all my readers, whoever are listening to me today, I will leave it up to them to go through your Google Drive or wherever you want to search it. Who has written it and what was it all about? And share with us on UBI platform. We would really want people to see. I also want to know who is actually listening to me, because this is what is the test for them. After every class, there is always one question which the teacher leaves. So this is, I know my teachers are so sweet. They will not test you so much, but I want to test you too. So there is one particular poem. And then there's so much more to that one particular topic which he brought to the table, and the way he's used the same concept, the same topic in such a beautiful way. So there's so many things which have been written and explained about that poem. so many techniques which one can learn from those old poems. Yes, there are different genres. I feel today there's so many genres which are coming up. New techniques are coming up which you can create and which you can learn and which you can make. But then at the end of the day, when the classics, when you read, you learn so much from those old classics. So one must for sure go through them. And yes, obviously, as ma'am says, you should create your own style. Yes, that is one thing very important. Every poet should have their own style.
Yes.
But there is a foundation to creating your own style, and that is what the classics
that you have to choose from.
Yeah.
And beware of plagiarism. Plagiarism, we shall take up as a separate section altogether in our series. That's another thing that will get covered. Be very careful of it. And if you don't know what it means, look it up. Here, Google Baba is going to help you. Plagiarism. Right. So we wind up for today.
I think we are good enough. Anything else which both of you would like to add to this? Anything?
Can you do you have 4 lines handy, Sunita? Just let's wind up with those 4 lines echoing.
Actually, 4 verses. Is that okay?
Could you?
Yeah, I'll read it quickly.
Okay.
So this is one of the poems from my book, Who Shall I Be Today? And it's called Cracks in the Wall. One by one, they crumble. The relationships built over years. You thought that each brick was cemented with love and trust. And suddenly, as if there has been a terrible earthquake, it all comes tumbling down. With bricks of memories scattered around, waiting for your heart to stumble over and start bleeding all over again. And you realize they don't make band-aids for bruised hearts. Yes, you desperately try gathering the bricks to build again what was lost. But what emerges is an edifice with holes in the wall where the bricks don't fit. An unstable monument to the past, which you pretend is perfect. And you know you daren't look too close. It is so much easier to paint over the cracks with a glossy sheen of whatever shade you like. But somewhere at the edge of consciousness, you know. And without realizing it, you wait for it to fall down again, knowing that when it does, your heart will be too tattered to hold anything together again.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
So this is how from where I was to where I'm come now and still working on that.
So great.
Thank you so much, Sunita, for being with us. It's been a total pleasure. Thank you so much, Sapnaji, for starting this wonderful program. We are forever indebted, and I'm sure our learners are. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going, everybody. Come on. Until we meet again. Namaskar. Happy learning. Read, write. Have a great time.
Thank you so much, Neeti, for such a wonderful session. I think I will say bye-bye on this note itself and see you all again every Saturday. We will be back with you.
Great.